Hey everybody, welcome to the Get Healthy Brand webinar. We are back again with another exceptional webinar with, I have to say, maybe one of my favorite brands in the whole world. Okay, they are. They're my totally favorite brand, although I'm not allowed to say that here, so nobody heard that. So, my good friend, CEO, and founder of Nutritional Frontiers, Jamie Dorley, is here with us tonight to talk about making our holiday season successful, going from holiday stress to weight loss success. We're going to talk about some great products tonight. I have a few slides to share just to get us started, just to catch everybody up on what we will be doing over here at Get Healthy in the coming year. I'm very excited about some of the things that we'll be doing. Let's pop this into full screen. Okay. So Get Healthy updates as we move into 2025. We do have our spring guide for wellness for the practitioners that have our technology. If you're new to our platform, please know that you can get a free demonstration of our technology, which is a full online store and dispensary in one place. Branded to you, looks like you, multiple product categories. And of course, our number one selling brand, Nutritional Frontiers, is on there as well. But our marketing team, Courtney Bell and Kat Dara, have created an incredible spring guide for wellness. This has all your graphics, all your campaigns, all your ideas, products for Q1 so that you can have a successful launch in January. Also, don't forget to sign up for our new advanced bootcamp strategies. This is going to be coming in 2025. We did a bootcamp last year, well, actually this year, 2024. It was called, increase your revenue by $1,000, either a day, a week, or a month. We had an incredible turnout. We taught you how to make graphics, how to upload those graphics, how to take out social media posts, stories, creating links for those things, and then creating links back to your store for product sales. So we do also enhance your business of your natural health practice as well as your client outcomes. So don't forget to sign up for our Get Healthy EDU. This is our educational platform. You can find past webinars with all our brand partners, including Nutritional Frontiers and things that we've done with Jamie and his team, as well as other great brands on our catalog. And without further ado, let's get started. Jamie, welcome to the brand webinar tonight. I'm so glad you're here.
Oh, thanks so much, Dr. Tracy. And, I'm very excited, of course, to be part of the team and be invited by not only you, but Get Healthy. And, it's a really exciting time of year for everyone. I love the decoration you have in the background. So I guess you got the
My
same
trees?
decorator I do. Yeah.
I was going to put lights on them, and I have a couch back there. Sometimes I just run back and sit on the couch. So if I get tired, that's where I'll be. But
No, really excited, both of us with backgrounds in personal training going back a few years and then transitioned to functional medicine over the time, and you being not only incredible educator, but clinician and really someone that's open-minded and a pioneer to not only nutritional frontiers, but all the people that you've helped, all the naturopaths and other healthcare professionals. So from all of us, thanks so much. We really appreciate it. And, this topic is so important because the average person, gains probably about 5 to 10 pounds during the holidays. And, as you would say, it's is it flu season or is it sugar season? And you really got to remember we don't want to totally eliminate everything. There are some cultures and some traditions and things like that, but the holidays aren't every day. So we want to make sure we can maintain and not gain during the holiday season because there's a couple key things we can do. We know the underlying causes from the newest research, and this is awesome to really see because, we forget sometimes. I know you and Dr. Bob at a recent professional training event, and when you had Candace and everybody there, one of the things that really caught my attention was Dr. Bob saying malnutrition is still the number one killer in all of the world, right? Malnutrition is something we take for granted. But when you see what people are eating, what you considered chemicals, right? Count the chemicals, not the calories. It's not only chemicals, but nutritional deficiencies. And then they start on that path to medications and then more side effects, more nutritional deficiencies. Some of the most obvious ones, like magnesium with high blood pressure, and sleep and mood. And all these things are tied together. We can't look at the body as different compartments. So nutritional deficiencies, stress. I know you don't have any stress, right?
No
You
stress at
only
all. It's only the holidays. I have two kids, almost one's a teenager, the other one's almost a teenager, and I'm married. I mean, it's
oh, well, do you
like
have any
unicorns and
pets?
cupcakes over here. Oh,
Do you have
just
any?
3 dogs, 3 cats, 5 chickens, we could go on.
Right. And it's called life, right? So it's supposed to have stresses, however, when they become overwhelming. And the thing that people normally knee jerk react to for stress don't have any nutrients in them, right? Like sugar, caffeine, nicotine, alcohol, whatever it may be, fast foods. Um, and they further deplete nutrients that are important for brain chemistry. So if you want to be able to handle the pets and the family and the marriage and the household and the jobs and all those things, which we do, you got to have a strategy in place. And we got to manage some of the stress coming in and give the nutrients so that the brain has the nutrition it needs. The brain burns 30% of all your nutrients every day. So if you're tired, your brain's tired. If you're stressed, your brain's stressed. So some simple strategies we can do. And of course, the IRS, any version of IRS, the Internal Revenue Service and insulin resistance syndrome, both very painful, leading ultimately to this whole metabolic syndrome. How many patients and colleagues do you see and people you train bring up blood pressure, diabetes, cholesterol, lipids, triglycerides? I mean, it's so common, right?
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. And, not all those things are bad indicators, they're just indicators. So it's really good that we're doing this tonight, moving into January, because I do want to address it tonight that we do talk about some GLP-1 medications. Not that I'm for or against anything, but I really think positioning some natural products and also what you're talking about tonight, managing your stress, filling your deficiencies, fix your gut, fix your hormones, all of those things are going to matter for success.
Yeah, and as you and our team always says, one is earn your cheat, right? The holidays aren't every day. On Thanksgiving, me and my daughters did a turkey trot. It was so much fun and bonding and exciting and exercise and then you can go eat a little bit more and not care. And of course, my daughter didn't want to go eat anything bad, right? Because she's really in tune with her diet now. It's pretty cool to see your kids do it, right?
Yeah.
But making sure that you have a strategy in place because you can make the holidays a lot more fun, handle the stress more, and not put on the excess weight because you only have to take it off. And it's a lot more fun putting it on than it is taking it off. So
So
my
true.
solution is to address the nutritional deficiencies. So regardless of what medications you're on, you got to remember medications deplete nutrients. And the big four are going to be vitamins, minerals, probiotics, right? And then CoQ10. So, for example, we know that the statin medications, for cholesterol and lipids, they'll actually deplete cholesterol, but they work on the same enzyme, right? HMG-CoA reductase in the liver. So that's what the same enzyme that builds cholesterol builds CoQ10. And you need CoQ10 in all your muscle, your heart, your liver, your brain. So when you're taking medications, you better make sure you fix any nutritional depletion. This is published research that shows if you did these two bundles, you would help overcome all the nutrient depletion through medications, regardless of what the medications are. But those are the big four most common. So
Wow.
simple two formulas. If you're on one, two, three, four, five or more medications, God forbid, or your patients are, there's a very simple way to stop the bleeding, build up some nutrients, and get them going on the right paths. Because when you do these two formulas, you're there. And of course, the next thing is the great pyramid of health you built many years ago. It's got a little new color and a little new design, but the same pyramid. And I love the fact that, we spoke the same language when we met, with the personal training background and, maybe struggling as kids, not being the healthiest or the leanest growing up. We had that personal challenge, right? And
Hmm.
it shows that we were able to actually change our body and transform. And without the foundations, you always say the foundations are like building your house on a solid base. If not, you're building on quicksand. So if
Right.
you don't address your water and your food and your movement and your sleep and stress and digestion, it's really hard to out supplement a bad lifestyle. And you usually can't even out medicate. I mean, there was years ago maybe you could, but it doesn't seem like you can do that anymore.
Right.
And I love when you really helped us with our Christmas and holiday promo, and you did the ultimate shake and you use greens. We use oranges right now. So can you tell us why you love so much utilizing the ultimate shake?
It's easy. as you see here, it's a macronutrient, micronutrient, and it also has a detox matrix in it, which includes a liver cleansing matrix, as well as some methylation support in the form of dimethylglycine. So I like it because I can use it as my multivitamin, my daily cleanse, my full mineral base in the right forms. I know you're going to talk about that later. And it tastes delicious. I also make pancakes out of this. So I'll do egg whites. Nikki Raymond actually turned me on to that, doing egg whites, one egg, and a scoop of the pineapple coconut ultimate shake. Make such good pancakes. I put some good organic maple syrup on there, just a little bit. So good. So
Yeah, and that way you can make it fun, right? This whole thing where you're being deprived, you're not being punished, people. And you got to be able to talk to your patients that way too. You got to make it fun for them. We have the recipe books, we have multiple flavors, including, guess what's coming out soon? Ultimate Shake chocolate.
who
Thanks for the
put
little
that
nudge.
request in there? I was like, hey, by the way.
Yeah. Have
Hint,
you
hint.
ever consider bringing this out right away? So the food is really important, right? So the ultimate shake is your base meal replacement. You can utilize any of our pro colors, reds, greens, oranges, purples to fortify it with your nutrients. And when you do that, you build the entire pyramid, right? So we want to make sure we have a solid base for people doing it at least one shake a day, the Shake a Day Club. It's an incredible way to guarantee you getting all your nutrients in. And what they found with the research, and it shows it right here, if you eat a high sugar breakfast, stress goes up, blood sugar goes up, insulin goes up, fat storage goes up, cortisol goes up, cravings go up, and energy and fat burning go down. That is the basic foundation of what's going on with metabolic crisis that we're going through. So stress, we really got to manage stress. And the worst thing you can do is start your day out with a sugar or a processed meal. Do something like Ultimate Shake, have your staff do it every day. You'll notice after 2, 3, 4 weeks, you will feel different. Your body comp will change, your mood will change, you're not craving as much, you're burning, you're getting that metabolic shift, folks. We're trying to do, most people are stuck in this fat storage machine. You
Mhm.
know, they have a lot of stress and cortisol. They're consuming a lot of processed junk, dairy products, and sugar. And even when they think they're eating good, it's probably some fast food version of what they think could be good. Because what you eat eats determines the value. I was just watching a video today on farm raised salmon. Probably the worst thing for people. So
And
people say they're confused. What do you mean? I thought salmon was great. So what you eat tells your body what to do. So this is really important to realize these stress hormones need to be controlled in the more extreme examples. That way people are feeling better and they're not craving, because this, what they're selling as food, is really poison and it is so addictive. That's what they're doing. And a lot of this is tracked back to even the researchers at the tobacco companies years ago. They're putting things in the food. We know this for years, that is making it addicting. And that's why people have these chemical imbalances. How many people you talk to, they're stressed out, they're depressed, they're anxious, they're down. They can't make decisions. I mean, this is becoming more and more common.
yeah, unfortunately, too common.
So what I want to do is address this. The simplest thing is to build the neurotransmitters. So we're talking about there, we're talking about things like dopamine and serotonin and GABA and epinephrine and norepinephrine, all these brain chemicals that we need. And most people go to the doctor and say, "Oh, you have a chemical imbalance." Well, you do. What's causing it? Remember, the brain burns 20 to 30% of your energy every day. So if you're not feeding the brain, then you're not going to have a great mood. You're not going to be able to focus. You're not going to be able to make decisions and accomplish and complete tasks. So Super B Complete is vital. It's all your activated B vitamins. The vitamins and minerals have to be in a form your body can see, absorb like a protein, assimilate into the cells, turn something on in the cells, and then the byproducts are gently excreted. And I'm proud to say our Super B Complete, you were part of that update over the years. We are the only B vitamin in the world that has DMG, otherwise known as B15, pangamic acid, and all the methylated forms of vitamins. Somebody said, well, why don't you have a methylated B12? I said, it's methylcobalamin. It is methylated. So the active folate in a veggie capsule. B vitamins need to be in the right ratios, and that's what we did with Super B. I take that every day, and you can tell a big difference if you're not taking it. The second one to look at goes along with that is rebuilding the adrenal glands. So when people are stressed out, they're not sleeping well at night, they're having a lot of cravings or low energy. Usually your cell phone, your adrenal glands, your cell phone is out of charge. And sometimes even when you plug in that cell phone, nothing comes on. You keep plugging it in. That's when you're adrenally fatigued. Your body needs a boost. And Adrenamax, one of the best adaptogens that I've seen out there for adrenal function. And I like to bundle these two together, Super B Complete and Adrenamax. How about yourself? How do you use those two together?
Depends on what I'm trying to do. So I like the Adrenamax and the Calm Day if I'm trying to lower cortisol in somebody. I like your adrenal glandular, actually, Jamie, in the morning if I'm trying to get cortisol up in the morning, along with some Super B Complete then with breakfast. I always like to take the B vitamins with food. Sleep time, obviously, such a great formula because it just has a little bit of everything. And doing the Calm Day during the day with the adaptogen and then doing the sleep time at night just really resets that circadian rhythm. And I think honestly, people take the sleep time too close to bed. I think they feel like it's going to just make them tired rather than following the natural pattern of melatonin production. So I usually tell people to take it as soon as they see the sun starting to set. Take your sleep time. Because if they get tired at 8 or 9, that's when they're supposed to go to bed. I don't know where we got this idea that we have to stay up. It's probably the 11 o'clock news that started all that. But I like to put supplements in to follow like the natural rhythms. And I've really found that either Calm Day or sleep time right after dinner as the sun is setting actually kicks that circadian rhythm in, and people can go to sleep and stay asleep if they actually go to bed when their body's tired. It's a whole different thing.
Well, that's a great point. So around here, that'd be about 4:30 right now, PM, right? I love it because that's the art of what you do, and you're a healthcare practitioner out there with a lot of experience, a little or none. Dr. Tracy's the one you want to work with. She's without a doubt one of the top presenters and educators because she really explains how to use it in practical terms. So that's why even I like to ask her when I do this with her. So it's really helpful to get her perspective and really her way of communicating that she gives the client and the patient what they need, no more, no less. So Super B and Adrenamax will be bundled together. The Calm Day, the great thing about that, we have the 8 count travel size that you get free when you buy a case of the regular size. So it's a really nice way to reward your patients, extra built-in value for them. Some clients sell them, so I don't call them samples anymore. My older daughter taught me that, Dad, samples are free. Travel sizes your doctors can sell. So call them travel sizes. Even if you put a 19.99 value on them, you can still give them for free. But now the person understands that's a $20 value, right? So a nice way to use Calm Day is during the day, and it can be used acutely. And some people even use it towards the end of the day in lieu of sleep time. Sleep time is one of my favorite.
Mhm.
I suffered from insomnia for about 10 years. When you talk about, cortisol out of control, starting the business up way back when. And sleep time really was able to, that and the Adrenamax and balancing, which we'll talk later about, my leptin and adiponectin levels. When you really balance out the hormonal component of weight gain and stress, that's where you can have dramatic effects, right? And then, of course, we have the mood boost. So if you're really deep down and depressed, mood boost is really cool because we can elevate serotonin with HCP, but it usually breaks down really quick.
Mhm.
However, when you add ginkgo to it, it preserves the shelf life or the life of serotonin. So you get a much better result with mood boost. You don't drop off as quick as you do with some other formulas or just using the ATP by itself.
Awesome. I'm
Well,
looking
again,
at that.
the whole thing with the insulin resistance, metabolic syndrome, this whole cascade of events that occurs. And, really, this is, I think, the most important underlying cause, right? We're talking about nutritional deficiencies. We're talking about, when they have issues going on right after that, because we know with stress, it's overwhelming. right? I was talking to some people today, and the word overwhelming comes up quite a bit, even from people that can do a lot or can handle a lot, because after a while, you can only handle so much. And if you don't give yourself a break and get yourself balanced, one of these quote unquote diseases will. But it's really a condition or a syndrome. You haven't caught a disease. What is, you have all those issues going on, including inflammation. It's a lot deeper than we're going over tonight. For time purposes, we're going to make sure we get this done. But when you look at insulin-resistant metabolic syndrome, now what's happened is you have the person not getting nutritional deficiencies. They may or may not been on medications, hopefully not yet, because if they are, we got to play catch up because now they've depleted nutrients even further and they're having potential more side effects. And then you factor in the stress component. You rattled off a lot of things that's going on, but it's also your life, right? So not all stress is bad. Your body would never grow or adapt with stress. That's why I call it growing pains. We just don't like when the pains are too much or too long, right? It's like we can handle some, but over time, when that starts to build up, people tend to consume too much sugar because it makes them feel good short term, and then they become addicted. Now they're having blood sugar imbalances, right? One of the most surprising things when you saw the Tufts University new food pyramid last year was they assigned scores to it. Frosted mini wheats was number 3 behind kale and
Mhm.
watermelon. So when you follow the money trail in the U.S., all your answers will be provided, right?
Yeah.
So people say, well, why is that the case? I said, well, it's a lot of lobbyists, a lot of money. And I want to give a huge congratulations because, the only way we're going to change anything is we change, right? And Tracy's been a pioneer. And, I'm so excited. I want to congratulate in front of everyone once again for being nominated to the new health, I call it Health Authority, right? So congratulations on that. We've been promoting you, and hopefully we see you up there at some point. If not, the fact that even getting nominated, wow, very, very impressive. And that's
Yeah,
because
I
your
was good with
courage.
that. I was like, oh, that's nice. Thanks. Yeah. So thank you. We'll see what
Oh
happens.
yeah, we're so proud of you and so excited, and you deserve it, right? You've earned it because you understand what's going on with the food component, right? You understand the toxicity, the inflammation, the stress, all those underlying components, and you add in poor foundations, right? Now they're got elevated blood sugar. I love when people say I'm pre-diabetic. I said, isn't everybody?
Right. But up,
Yeah. Okay, you're on the course. So do you want to wait till you got it, right? Do you want to wait till you get an infection, something like that? And I've had challenges with blood sugar. I've been open about it over the years, and we're all patients too. And when you have a tremendous amount of stress, you got to be really careful because that can bring anybody down. So you want to make sure you're addressing your blood sugar. And once you look at what you're eating in that first meal, that's going to determine postprandial what happens hormonally.
Mhm.
So the next 2 hours after the meal is determined by what just happened, right? And a lot of people eat for what they did, right? Oh, I worked today so hard. Eat for what you're going to do, right?
Right.
And the best thing you can do is having that shake in the morning or your first meal. I don't care if you do intermittent fasting. That's cool too. If you want to do that, that's okay. Not a terrible idea. You still have to have a first meal of the day at some point, and it should be a shake.
Mhm.
The great thing for me is they're convenient, they're fortified, they have all the nutrients in them, and I can take them on the road. And they're really incredible, budget buster for the grocery store because it is very expensive to get really good protein, good fiber in, and some of the nutrients you get in the shakes you can't even find in the grocery store. So the feedback over the last couple of years, especially, has been this has been a fantastic solution for people for what they eat first thing. Kids can do it, right? I mean, you recommend the shakes for kids too?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Easy for them. You can sneak in the vitamins and minerals. They don't even know it's happening. And you can make it taste good. Like I said, I make pancakes out of it. My kids, they don't know the difference. Put some syrup on that.
No, and even with the smoothies, I have my daughter get the recipe book out. You want frozen fruit? Sure, put it in there. You want to put natural nut butter in the vanilla? Go ahead. Getting all those nutrients in is the key, and you can make it fun. But That's really where it starts. And I'm really stressing the importance of that because that's where you're going to increase your risk of success or failure. That's really where all starts. That first meal of the day, that stress in the morning. So if you're waking up stressed, you didn't sleep well, you're running out the door, you're grabbing fast food or not eating, or your patients are doing this, that needs to be addressed right away. Then you could add in some really cool nutrients, right? So I like adding the pro oranges into any of our shakes, especially if insulin resistance, metabolic syndrome, fatigue. Any of the colors are great. I like the oranges, especially in the afternoon around 3 o'clock with the shake. It makes that really cool, orange dreamsicle, like you used to get at Orange Julius or those ice cream bars we used to get, right? The orange ones with the vanilla inside. So you can make it a lot of fun too when you do that for your patients and do samples in your office. So I like that shake. Now you start to look at the nutraceuticals. So how would you use glucose with one of your patients? This is what I consider like a natural metformin, where it's going to help make your body more sensitive to insulin's actions. So how do you recommend that?
So differences in formulas, glucose, like you said, it's more of a nutrient-based formula with some cinnamon, things that we know therapeutically are going to help with glucose getting into the cell. Where Nutraglutide, I feel, is more of a natural GLP-1 activator, helps with the production of those incretins of the digestive system and the metabolic function downstream. So I do one glucose and one Nutraglutide with each large meal, like breakfast, lunch, dinner. Now, if they're like major snackers, I might have them take something in between, but most of the time I'll tell people, eat your dinner, eat your breakfast, eat your lunch, but have like a good high protein or high fat snack, like a handful of nuts in between, something that's going to stabilize your blood sugar on its own. So one of each meal. The thermogenesis I use in the morning, 3 capsules when people get up. And sometimes I'll just have them do it on an empty stomach. It never bothers me on an empty stomach. I usually take it first thing. And so it's thermogenesis in the morning, Nutraglutide, glucose each meal. The ultimate shake I do with the greens, and I tell them that they can do that at any time, in between as a snack or as a meal replacement if they want, and they can do up to 3 shakes a day if they want to. But I do like the oranges at that midday, as you were saying, when people tend to crash, it gives you that little bit, that green tea, is in there. So it's really going to help with energy. It also helps balance all those sirtuin pathways. So it's a really cool formula, and I always forget about it. So I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, we actually updated it in the last year or so, and I'm not sure if your rep filled you in on it, but just as a friendly reminder, and for doctors that maybe aren't familiar with it, but the orange is really a fruit and veggie based drink, right? And think of like a greens powder, but orange flavored and orange colored, because the orange nutrients in there are really designed to help with cellular energy, balancing blood sugar, and managing adrenals, right? We added Sensoril, which is a patented trademark research ashwagandha that we use in our Thyro Complete. So that's in there now. We have the green coffee bean to manage the blood sugar levels. And we also have a nice blend that gives a non-caffeinated pop to the neurotransmitters, right? So things like inositol, DMG, and ginseng. So it's a great way to increase your cellular energy without stimulating the central nervous system, because we don't use any central nervous system stimulants because there's a lot of side effects and potential overuse and abuse. However, we want to stimulate ATP production. We want to be able to balance blood sugar. So the Pro Orange is a nice thing, especially trying to get people off of these energy drinks. The energy drinks have been proven to increase risk factors of strokes by 500%. So when you have someone drinking them, ask them if they want a stroke, because that's a very high probability when they're doing energy drinks consistently. So great thing too with the oranges, you can do it by itself. A lot of people do, say, oh, I'm so bored with water. I got flavor fatigue. Everyone's suffering from that. So you need everything sweet. Put a scoop or two in the oranges. We do provide the Nutritional Frontiers blender bottles at no cost. So it's a nice way to sip on some healthy juice without getting all the sugar you normally would, plus a tremendous amount of nutrients. And we go to the next slide. I want to break down these formulas a little bit more. So the foundation is the shake. That's your food. That's your macronutrients. When you're providing that for your patients and customers and clients, That goes on their grocery bill when you're doing a food log and a food plan for them. This is groceries, not supplements. Then we get into the nutraceuticals. The more they follow the diet and the food-based supplements, the less duration they'll have on the nutraceuticals. The goal is to get them to do a maintenance wellness program, right? So you got to educate them and incentivize them and motivate them. And a really cool formula, glucose in our top 10 now for 5 years straight, because the whole issue of blood sugar modulation is such a challenge for people. And so many people get great results because Nutritional Frontiers, we like to put together a lot of patented research, trademarked ingredients, all of which we use at the Wellness Center before from various companies. We like to bring those together so you get a more comprehensive solution, better results due to better compliance and better profits because don't sell direct. We work with you guys. So the nice thing is that with glucolyze, we use the nutrients that we're familiar with. However, the forms of these nutrients, Tracy, are really important. So if it's okay, I'm going to go into it for about a minute or two because this is really a big differentiator between Nutritional Frontiers and even some of the other professional brands. And there's a lot of great brands out there. I have friends at many different companies. The difference on what we're trying to do is we're trying to make it a little more comprehensive, right? So we use a chromium form by Albion. Chromium's a mineral. Think of minerals as very unstable, right? It's like that kid that's running around the house and you can't ever get him to calm down, right? So you got to stabilize them. So when you stabilize a mineral, how you stabilize it determines one, its molecular size, and two, its bioavailability, how well you absorb it. So you can take things like minerals like oxide, attach them oxides like, and carbonates. Really, they're more like a shell or rock formation. You can also do things where you combine it to glycine to make it an amino acid chelate. However, if you attach one glycine, think of chromium as, or say magnesium as a beach ball, right? And if you hold it with one glycine, the glycine's your hand, the magnesium is the ball. If you hold it with one hand, it's good here, but if I start moving my hand, you're going to drop it. So think of magnesium as the ball, and I have two glycines, two amino acids holding the glycine in, covalently bonded to the mineral. Now, when that mineral moves throughout the body, it has bisglycinate, two glycines, and that keeps it intact, keeps it the utmost bioavailable. So your body absorbs it and you actually get the difference. I mean, you have experience using our minerals, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And there's nothing like your minerals. I mean, I love the Albion. I love that you choose that company. That's not easy to do either. I mean, you could spend less money, right? You could skimp and cut corners, but you choose not to. And the nice thing is you don't pass those costs on to your doctors. Like you really try to keep those costs in-house and negotiate internally so that we don't feel the pressure of what you're doing. So that's another good thing.
Yeah, we want to get results so they don't have to be on as many products as long, right? My ultimate goal is one shake a day. And you can do the men's complete and bundler, right? Or women's complete, those two bundles at the beginning. So you get one shake and two supplements. That's the ultimate goal, right? When you do that, you can get all your nutrients in, but for a period of time, we have to get therapeutic. So that's why we use the most bioavailable forms of these nutrients out there. And then we combine it with things like cinnamon bark extract. You go all the way back to Diabetes Care 2003. They looked at cinnamon by itself, 1, 3, or 6 grams, and you got really good results, 18 to 29% management of blood sugar just by that one nutrient. So we use the cinnamon in here. We also use it in nutriglutide, which I'm going to go over in a few minutes. Our alpha lipoic acid. So everyone knows about alpha lipoic acid. Regular alpha lipoic acid, still great. We still use it in some formulas. That is 50% active. The R alpha is the active and 50% alpha lipoic. So in this formula, because you want a therapeutic effect, alpha lipoic is a really cool antioxidant because it really helps polish off the age, those glycosylated end products, this sugar that corrodes the end of the nerves, right? Where people start to have circulation issues, right? Numbness. They may have neuropathies, right? Or they may have undiagnosed pain. But usually because that sugar is building up not only in the blood but around the nerves. So alpha lipoic is a great antioxidant that can actually polish off those nerve endings. Gymnema, really loaded up. You can go to the next slide. I'm going to show how glucolyzed. I would recommend really 4 to 6 per day as a therapeutic dose. If a smaller person, woman's 100 pounds, maybe 2 to 4. On average, about 4 caps a day with meals. Now, that will help a lot of people, but people are getting worse, Tracy. It's getting worse. It's not getting much better. When you factor in everything happened in the last 5 years, it is unbelievable. I can cry right now. How many friends have cancer right now? It's unbelievable. It's just like it's just starting to snowball. I'm beside myself about it. And every one of them, of course, had taken a different path than we did. Of course, we're getting vaccinations and things. And, hey, that's your choice. But as I learned in our recent events and training, is that, it became really a magnet, an amplifier for underlying causes, right? So people are more sick, people are more toxic. We need to go deeper and underline, really address these underlying causes that are deeper than just blood sugar imbalance. So glucose is great for that, right? It will manage blood sugar. It'll get cravings down. It'll help people lose some weight, especially essential adiposity, right? But now we get into some other deeper underlying causes, right? So let's look at thermogenesis complete. You like it first thing in the morning before you work out, right?
Right.
That's when I like it the most because I want to get a thermogenic effect, which means I'm heating up my cells. I'm getting the fat cells to warm up and start to be able to be burned. It's not easy to burn fat. And we have the deck stacked against us. So we need to address this without stimulating our central nervous system, making us wired or anything like that. So there's no nervous system stimulation in this formula. But we do address some really cool underlying issues. So one thing we're going to do is there's this whole issue with leptin and adiponectin, ghrelin, right? You hear these hormones, and really these hormones are involved in, you ever see, or sometimes, full transparency, we get a little hangry, right? You know, so when people are getting hungry and angry, they're getting stressed out. They don't feel full. They're always hungry, always stressed, and they can't lose weight. Well, their hormones are out of balance, and it's not just blood sugar and insulin, leptin and adiponectin. So when those are out of balance, it doesn't matter what you do. So one of the nutrients I used years ago that helped me start to get back in shape again was I used African mango. So one of our docs in Florida would do weight loss and he would address it through leptin levels. The original form is actually called leptin balance. And what we did is we actually used African mango. The new version, the PRT, IGOB123, otherwise known as OB1 Kenobi. Of course, Mikey G came up with that one. This nutrient by itself will help balance stress, induce eating. It all start to balance leptin and ghrelin levels so you can actually start to feel full again. Really cool thing. We got a thermogenic effect in here with green coffee bean, right? We're getting blood sugar balancing from the white mulberry. We're getting fat simulation with the HCA. That's the original hydroxycitric acid. That's the active ingredient, not the stimulant, the active ingredient in hydroxycut, one of the most common weight loss products and stimulants out there. And then we use the PRT, the red hot chili pepper, not one of your favorite bands, of course, but the actual extract called Capsamax. The same company that is our partner for this PRT is our partner for the curcumin, our active curcumin, right? It's called OmniActive, this company. And Dinesh met with me and my son a few years ago, and he says, Capsamax, guys. I said, all right, we're using the Ludamax for the eyes from them, that one ingredient a year. And then we use another ingredient from them, which was great, the curcumin. And then we started looking at the research on the Capsamax. So what the Capsamax is able to do is able to heat up those fat cells without stimulating your nervous system. So it's starting to heat up, and that's where you get the caloric expenditure. So thermogenesis complete, really simple. I like 3 caps in the morning. That Ervingia by itself, Tracy, 10 weeks, 102 people, 28 pounds on average.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
That's amazing.
And we have people that have lost that much weight. I think the highest one, you've seen some of these things with Paul Neville, even like on his Facebook post. We have people down 60, 70 pounds. So,
Hmm.
of course, it's a lifestyle. But even him as a nationally known trainer, when he was working people, he wasn't getting the results. He came down a couple of years ago, saw our expansion, saw everything you helped us with, and he says, I got to get on the program again. We created a very simple weight loss kit for him using the Ultimate Shake and the greens and things like that. And it's amazing the results people get. Capsamax, the cool thing is it burns calories even at a resting rate. And it may not seem like a lot, 129 more calories every 4 hours, but 6 times a day, you're at almost 1,000 calories, right? You're about 800 calories. You do it over a week, it's about a pound. So it's really cool. Also, slow, moderate drop in appetite. The Sensoril, which we were talking about, super cool. This is the one that's in the oranges and the Thyro Complete. This is great because it will manage cortisol. You said that earlier. You want to manage cortisol for people. Why is that becoming so out of balance?
Just everyone's in sympathetic fight or flight, whether they're in fight or flight from actual emotional stress, food stress, environmental stress. I mean, we're just surrounded by it. And, Dr. Sherian, she's on this webinar right now. She had done a lecture in the Health 365, and she talked about cortisol is released when you die. And it's called the death hormone because it helps the body decompose. So when you are actually having high levels of cortisol all day, you're actually decomposing. You are causing so much oxidative stress that your cells are dying. Plus, you get into a state where the cortisol has been high for so long that your
Yeah.
receptors become desensitized to it, which then leads to an either bigger problem, which is low cortisol. And now you're just sluggish and you can't motivate yourself to do anything. You have brain fog, all the things. So, cortisol, if we can get that under control, you're going to be able to control that downward spiral because it's going to steal your building blocks of all your hormones to supply itself, right? Pregnenolone, progesterone, which make your DHEA, your androgens, your testosterone, your estradiol, all get stolen by greedy little cortisol, who is just the little death hormone that's trying to kill you because we're so stressed out. So, like you said, filling the nutrient gaps, getting to the root, figuring out what the SOS is, right? The source of stress, and then modulating that with specific products. And you look at something like thermogenesis and you don't think that that's what it'll do. Like you think it's going to rev you up, and it really doesn't. At least it didn't for me. I mean, I had energy because I felt better, but not because I felt like I had an artificial energy. And I actually felt better when I started to adjust my circadian rhythms, which took a while. Now I go to bed at 9:30 and I get up at 5 and I go to the gym. That is not something that I've ever done in my life. I was a complete night owl and I would try to sleep in as much as I could. And it just led to this just depletion of my metabolic function. And then finally I was like, I have to do something. So very unique product. I hope people are taking these little nuggets because they're extremely important with what we're going to see in January. They're saying 30% of the population is going to embrace a GLP-1 GIP product, whether it's an injectable or a natural supplement. There's no time better than right now to take things like this to market and say, I have a path to enhance your metabolic function and help you reset this year through January. And if you can do 102 people in 10 weeks and they lose on average 28 pounds, I mean, who wouldn't join that program? Like,
Miracles.
miracle.
Yeah, early to bed, early to rise makes you healthy, wealthy, and wise, they say, right? So Thermogen is complete. The last ingredient I want to highlight is suntheanine. This is a product that people buy by itself, right? It's a patented research trademark theanine, unbelievable, improves glucose tolerance, insulin sensitivity, blood lipids come down. People use it acutely to manage cortisol or acute anxiety. So if you took all these ingredients and these are all therapeutic levels, there's no window dressing or anything in here, right? And if you bought them individually, it'd be about 250 bucks. When you buy it all in one formula, about $3 a day. It's under $100 for a month. People had no problem laying out 1,800 bucks a month for HCG
They didn't.
or yeah. Weight Watchers and all the Nutrisystems and all those things. People will spend the money. All they need to do is believe it that it's going to do it, right? And they don't even need to believe you as a healthcare professional. They have to believe you believe it.
Hmm.
So if you're not using the Ultimate Shake and the colors, you need to start. You need to get your staff on it. We create all kinds of incentives at work. They can use free product at work. Whatever you can take in your belly is free. You want to take it home with you, we give it you at cost. We want our staff to be involved. Oftentimes, the staff is that first and last line of defense, talking to the patient and client coming in. So thermogenesis is complete. I love it first thing in the morning, right? I do my workout, do my activity, my prayers, my whole ritual in the morning, right? Encourage your patients to do that to manage their stress. Journaling, believe it or not, for me is one of the best things I can do because all those things that going through your head, people tend to overthink. They can write them down and get them on paper. That's step one of getting rid of those things, right?
Hmm.
So there's a lot of things you can do. Tracy's created a program years ago with us on, doing all these cool things to, step your selfie up and all those things. So it was really cool. There's so many little exercises people can do, music, meditation, nature, to manage stress, not TV. I rarely watch TV. I do watch sports. I rarely watch TV. Never watch news, God forbid. So these are things that you have to train you and your staff and also your patients on. So thermogenesis is complete, great. Do your shake in the morning. I like doing a nutriglutide at lunch or in the afternoon for me personally. Why? Because I tend to possibly spike cortisol later in the day from work. It could be stressful in the afternoon. You want to get home. And most people, when they overeat, they tend to overeat from 6 to 9 or 10 at night. Not a lot of people overeat in the morning. They tend to overeat more at night. So for me personally, I like the Nutriglutide with my afternoon shake around 3 o'clock. And a really cool thing about Nutriglutide is it's working on some of the other mechanisms of action like the thermogenesis. So you're getting another result with a therapeutic dose of what we looked at before. And the therapeutic dose in this one is going to be for the Capsamax, right? The Nutriglutide uses some of the nutrients we used earlier for insulin resistance in the glucolyze. But this time we use a stronger version of those ingredients. Synsulin is a water-based, 10 times more bioavailable form of cinnamon and the most bioavailable form on the market. So to manage now, because we have a more extreme person, we want results quicker. We're going to add not only chromium, but a PRT version of cinnamon called synsulin and also berberine. So three nutrients to manage insulin resistance and blood sugar. We're going to go after the stress and cortisol. And I think this is really, for me, the game changer in this formula. Because when I take this, I'm not hungry at night. Even when I eat probably half. Usually my plate's gone, even healthy food, not eating as much food. I think it's because the sensorial, the ashwagandha in here, combined with the L-theanine, really, as you said, manage cortisol later in the day. Therefore, you don't have those crazy cravings. And more importantly, I can fall asleep at night, repair all my hormones, do all my recovery and cleansing, because if you can't sleep, you're not going to be able to burn body fat and lose weight. So I like this form because we got insulin resistance and blood sugar. Secondly, stress through cortisol. Then we're going to get some really cool ingredient like the Capsamax, which we talked about a little bit earlier in the Thermogenesis Complete. Think a bit about this as really like a fat cell igniter, right? It's turning on those fat cells so you can actually break them down. The fat cells are very stubborn. That's why you need to limit the chemicals coming in the body, folks, because the chemicals get jammed up in the fat cells. And this was really talked about years ago by Dr. Bob and Dr. Bland, talking about what comes first, the toxin or the fat cell. And they concluded you can't release your cells can't release all the fat cells if it's loaded with toxins, right? You can't do it. So you have to get that congestion out of the cells. So the Capsamax will help do that. And the cool new ingredient is the CertMax. So this actually works on sirtuin genes and
Hmm.
cools down the pro-inflammatory mediators in fat cells. I've been doing this long enough. It'll be 34 years I start next week. Can't believe it. And
It
I've been doing
started
this
so
so
young.
I know, can you believe it?
You were like 10, maybe. So young.
Yeah, I'm 40-10, right?
That's
Yeah.
right. Pretty fun.
So the Max is really cool because it works on sirtuin genes, which are really your aging genes, how quickly the
Mhm.
sirtuins will break down. Um, and we look at these genes, it's really important to realize, I bring up that I've been doing this a while because it's important for people to know that. And a lot of things have kind of evolved of what we're doing, right? I don't always say it changed. I says, it's not true. What we knew then was what we knew then. Fat cells were looked at as metabolically inert. They were there just for insulation and storage of energy. That's all they did. Oh, lo and behold, we find these fat cells are pro-inflammatory. They contain chemicals and ingredients in there that really promote more fat storage.
Mhm.
And oftentimes, this is the biggest challenge, right? These fat cells are pro-inflamed. They're so inflamed that we can't cool them down so we can start burning them. And that's what the Max does. A really cool new patented research trademarked ingredient, cooling down these pro-inflammatory fat cells. So you look at some of the research on this, insulin by itself, 34% reduction in blood sugars. So if you're running about a 300 blood sugar, this will get you under 200, just that ingredient by itself. Almost 40% decrease in body fat percentage, right, over a course of a year. So they're able to drop that down, their weight over that year. So it works on not only blood sugar, but also percentage of body fat. Max, unbelievable. It's cooling down those pro-inflammatory fat cells. And what they found is that those AGE products, right? That's where the sugar attaches to the cell, and now those cells become insulin resistant. And it's not only fat cells; your muscle cells become insulin resistant too, and that's really where you're in trouble. And then you have the chromium here, the most bioavailable form of chromium. So really cool. Great reduction in blood sugars, great help with the pro-inflammatory fat, down 18 pounds, 4 months, 7 weeks reduction in weight, blood sugars, AGE products. So across the board, results not only on blood sugar, but also weight, and also the Trax chromium we talked about earlier. So this is all in the Nutriglutide. So I like 2 caps in the afternoon shake. Can you refresh my memory again? So how are you doing the Nutriglutide and the thermogenesis, just those two?
Thermogenesis in the morning, 3 capsules, whether you do it, I do it first thing, empty stomach. And then I do Nutriglutide, 1 capsule each meal with glucolyze, 1 capsule each meal.
Oh, fantastic. So, there's many ways to the method. We want to make sure we're learning more strategies. So it's not like exact for every person. Somebody's a little more sensitive, start them out a little lower, right? If
Yep.
they're really severe, and you need a therapeutic result, then you got to go high with the dosing. So it depends on the person, how long they've been dealing with this, how severe they are. And the key is always go back and do the whole program, right? So it
Yeah.
starts with their nutritional deficiencies, right? So if you can have pancakes around the holidays, maybe you can sneak in a few of the ultimate shake, right? If you're
Great.
going to, partake in some of those foods, add in an extra 2 to 4 glucolize. People take it acutely too. If you can have some dessert or partake in some vino, a little bit of wine, you can hack in, as Dr. Bob would say, is earn the treat, buffer the treat. So if you're going to eat sugar, take the glucose acutely, right? If you're feeling a little sluggish or you have big meals later in the day, I always do the shake in the morning, especially on the holidays, because I found when I didn't do the shake, because I wanted to eat later, I overate too quickly. So what I do is I like to do, depending what time I eat, if we're eating at 4 o'clock, some families eat earlier, later, it depends. Do a shake or two beforehand, maybe one in the morning. The other thing is do something fun. Like I'm going to do the Christmas Eve trot this time, the 5K, the turkey trot. Some people like to go for a walk, take the dogs out, whatever it is. But get active in the morning, do a shake on those days. And then also I like to do is split the meal up, right? Because I love to eat a lot of that good food. So rather than eating too much at one time, I'll eat a decent amount and I'll say, you know what, I'll make a dish for later because I can enjoy it again without putting too much in my system at once.
Yep.
And when I do that, then I'll add in some digestive enzymes, right? If I'm really craving, then I'll add in some nutriglutide. So you can do these things that help you manage, throughout the holidays. So earn it and then buffer it and then enjoy it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. That was amazing. I don't think there's enough product education. I mean, I think there's a lot of products out there, but just breaking down the label for practitioners and then giving a solution set of like, here's how you use it. Here's how I use it. I'm sure there's some practitioners, in the chat that probably use it a little different way, but that's the solution. I don't think people realize what value there is, and learning how to look at a label and understanding what the ingredients are and how they work in synergy so that you can get the best outcomes for your patients. So, totally agree. Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
one last parting shot, if it's okay, is that,
yeah.
um, I think a lot of times the practitioners I work with, sometimes the struggles are they're looking for the secret ingredient, right? Like the holy
Mhm.
grail of nutrition. And we've seen these come by 100 times, right? The ones that have been around and we're getting more bioavailable forms and, forms with more research, that's what we want to use more and more of. So we at Nutritional Frontiers and working with Dr. Tracy Odiers, we don't use a lot of single nutrients because it would be too many products. So
Right.
what we do is we take the guesswork out. We work with our brand ambassadors led by Dr. Tracy and some incredible practitioners throughout the country. We work on the formulation so that we get more comprehensive formulas. So you don't have to use just the single nutrients and try and customize for everyone. Take the guesswork out, reduce the cost, and increase the value. So that's the philosophy on the formulations. You need the food-based nutrients like the shakes, then you need the nutraceuticals, but you got to get the therapeutic results and a lot less product.
Yep, absolutely. So guys, great webinar. When will the chocolate ultimate shake be available?
Uh-oh. Get Zach on the phone right now, my son.
I'm gonna text Zach and be like, here's a
It's
question.
I'm expecting it in before Christmas.
All right. So that's just to test it, right? So there's a lot that goes in, especially for shakes with product formulation. When I worked with you and for you, I learned a lot about how companies can really cut corners on product formulation.
Oh
And I
yeah.
have to say, you guys didn't. You third party test your products, your ingredients, but it does take some time to get the flavor right so that people will enjoy it, because it's tough. I mean, I'm sure the practitioners on here will hear people say, well, I didn't like the taste of that. And I'm like, well, you're not 6, just take it. Like we're trying to get better. You can have a cookie later, like when you're healthy, but it is hard. So I'll wait patiently, maybe till, December 31st. So no rush or anything, but,
You run down Christmas morning, it might be under the tree. You never
right.
know.
If you see me like just swooping in once a week at NF, everybody heard it here first. There's free product if you show up at the office.
Yeah, one thing we do
That
is take a lot
address.
of pride in our flavoring systems. We use some very unique. We don't use any artificial sweeteners at all. So
Mhm.
there's a lot of misunderstandings what a label says and doesn't say. It's by choice, folks. My friend's company, he sells it in the bodybuilding world. He says they don't care about aspartame. He goes, I know your people do. I said, that's why we don't use it. So we use the best of the best that's available. We're always updating the formulations with the flavoring systems, but um, people love them. And the cool
Mhm.
thing is, you want to add some frozen fruit. You can use almond milk, coconut milk, rice milk. You can
Right.
get really creative with them. And I also love adding the colors. One of my favorite shakes is a peanut butter super shake with the chocolate greens, 2 scoops of each. I mean, if I don't have that, I can really tell I didn't have it that day.
Mhm.
If I'm on the road or I do something else or have a meeting in the morning. So
Yeah.
utilize the nutrients for yourself and you'll be pleasantly surprised. It's a great way to get your macro and micronutrients in.
Yeah, absolutely. And they taste good just by themselves. I mean, I do a scoop of the Best Way chocolate and the Best Way peanut butter with some almond milk or coconut milk, whatever I have on hand, shake it up, ice in a shaker. And it's real quick, between meetings, because what was happening to me was I wasn't eating. And so my whole metabolic function slowed down. So these formulas too aren't just for blood sugar. These are metabolic formulas. And I think everyone has to remember is that we're very much focused on insulin, which we should be. We're very much focused on diabetes and, blood sugar, but cancer is metabolic. Neurodegenerative disease is metabolic. Any type of hormone dysregulation is metabolic. Of course, weight is metabolic, but it's not the only thing. So when you're using these formulas, don't be afraid to off-label them for people that have other metabolic issues. Now, you don't want to drive someone's blood sugar way down, but thermogenesis would be great for anybody with metabolic issues of any kind. So it's just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, you got to realize how sick these people are, right?
Mhm.
It's like jump starting your car. Sometimes it won't even start. That's how people, you got to get that jump start to them, and you can do that by getting their metabolism to shift,
Right.
right? But most people that we're seeing as patients out there now, our community of healthcare practitioners, the feedback I get when I talk to you guys and gals together is, you know, people don't really have a quote unquote disease, right? If you have an infection or something like that, that's different. What you have is a cluster of this whole thing with metabolic syndrome. And now, being that the system is set up with third-party insurance reimbursement, here I go, right? It's not free healthcare. Someone's paying insurance policy, and someone's getting paid for not treating or getting treated. That's the part that probably gets me the most. And that's
Mhm.
the healthcare, the health insurance. Health insurance was originally created to help communities so that when there was something tragic or really severe, their money was pooled together. You can pay for their family. The person got in a car accident. Over time, it's become a big business. So you got to remember, for them to get paid for you when you come in, they need a diagnosis. And one of the diagnoses is diabetes, right? That just means that your body has high blood sugar. It's not telling us anything other than that. Most of the disease diagnoses are describing what's going on, right?
Right.
Which is fine. But they're not talking about what's causing it, the underlying cause. Why? Because the system is set up, and you need to notice because the psychology of the average person coming in to see you has been really conditioned by the medical model, which is
Mhm.
really a miracle worker for acute trauma. God forbid a friend or loved one gets in an accident, right? Has a heart attack, a stroke, a blood clot. You need medical intervention to stabilize the person. Nutraglutide is not going to do it at that point, right?
Right.
However, over 80% of the doctor's visits are for chronic care. So we're treating the person acutely for a chronic condition, and we know it's a recipe for disaster.
Yep.
So we got to understand the mindset of that person coming in to see you as a naturopathic or functional medicine MD or whatever your discipline is after your name. We don't care. We're all in this together. But that person coming in has been conditioned that they're waiting for a diagnosis. There's only one cure of medicine, and someone else is going to pay for it, and they think it's free.
A great
This is how
analogy.
we think about what's going on. When you start to think about it, we don't apply this to any other business in the world. But
Nope.
healthcare, we seem to be okay with it, right?
Yeah.
So we got to remember that what that person's mindset is when they're coming in, because that way you can handle that person appropriately with the right education and let them know there are other options. And the goal ultimately is get them healthy. We don't
Right.
really care how.
Yep. So all of Nutritional Frontiers full line of supplements is available in your Get Healthy catalog to add to your store. So I would suggest these formulas tonight, build a bundle and a coupon and start
Stretching.
going out and helping the world become healthier, right? Which was Jamie's mission before Maha. His statement was always making the world healthy. And then RFK came
The
and said,
feeling when
we're gonna
somebody
make the world,
steals
we're gonna make America
counting
healthy again.
chemicals, not calories. Now I know you
That's
feel,
right.
yeah.
So
Maha.
yeah, when everyone steals my lines, I'm like, hey, so best form of flattery is imitation, right? Well, guys, thanks for being here tonight. You can also reach out directly to Nutritional Frontiers. That is on that last thank you slide. Just let me pop that back up here for a wholesale account. If you are a practitioner, you can reach out to nutritionalfrontiers.com. You will have to fill out the practitioner form, and they will activate your wholesale account for you. They also have a sub account, which is the cbdnf.com. That is their CBD products, which, as we know, we can't sell them through the Get Healthy store, but you do have access to them. And I love their transdermal cream, by the way. I have it all the time. I have to order more.
Yeah,
So
and regardless of how you're working with us, of course, through the Get Healthy store program, which is fantastic, right? The nice thing with our team is we know some of the other brands too, right?
mhm.
And we're not one that's gonna say it's no good. We have a lot of friends at these companies, worked at these companies, and a lot of our clients that use the Get Healthy platform like that because they may say, "Hey, I want to use your blood sugar. Here's what I'm using from someone else," or, "Hey, I got that one covered. What else would you recommend?" So we can even do training regardless of their platform with you guys. So that's
And
what we're here
even at
for.
events, when I talk about your program and your
Oh
formulas,
yeah.
all of that, but there are some complementary things that I throw in, like
Yeah.
homeopathy, just because it takes a village. But if you're a practitioner and you want to try some of these formulas, reach out. They do have those travel sizes. You know, if you want to talk to Jamie directly, he's always available. Let me give you his cell number. It's 41. No, I'm just kidding. But he truly is always available. I mean, it is actually his cell number on his business card. So,
It's on there. Look, and everyone says I'm so busy. You heard how many times it's ranked tonight. I'm not that busy.
so busy.
Anybody we can help. If I can't do it, we have someone on our team that can help you. We have a complete team inside and outside, brand ambassadors, and we really, really want to build this community. We have a lot of fun with it, but it's such a fulfilling career. It's second to none. I couldn't imagine doing anything else. And if you contact us, we'll send you a free care package with all the travel sizes and some really cool literature. So just contact us directly as a partner and friend from Get Healthy. We say thank you and Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Jamie. Thank you, everybody, for being here, and we'll see you next time at our next brand webinar.
Thanks, guys, so much. Appreciate it. God bless.